Hi, welcome back to the Blessed Bonds podcast. Today we have Brent on. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Hey, Rose, good to be with you. Yeah, so I'm Brent Coppieters. I've been working here at ClickFunnels slash Prime Mover for just over 18 years, and it's been a blast. So currently, my current role, I've worn many hats here at the company, but my current role is VP of coaching. So all of our coaching programs and helping support Russell with his inner circle masterminds and his Atlas mastermind as well, and our events.
That's awesome. That's so fun. Yeah, I think today, so we're gonna dive into family, faith, business, like all of those things. And so I just wonder, can you go through like each of those things and like what they are for you? So like your faith and your family, and then what you do for like all the work stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So yeah, so family, faith, work. It's obviously it's a balance, right? It's always an
Mhm.
interesting thing. And there never probably is a perfect balance,
Right.
but we try to do that, right?
Hmm.
So me and my family, we have a strong faith. We're actually members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I belong to that faith my whole life, and our kids have are been raised that way, um, and that faith is really focused on family, and it's focused on you know kind of why we're here and where we're going, and then while we're here on this earth, like what we can do to help bless and help other people, and so that's been a good anchor for me and my family as we make decisions.
Hmm.
I met Russell kind of through a church function. Is actually how I met Russell
Really?
back in the day. Yeah, back in I think 2004, and then I started working with him officially in 2006. So it's
That's
been it's
crazy.
been a good chunk. Yeah.
God was like, I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna put you guys.
100%, 100%. And that's what, when we go back and when we've had our ups and downs of the business and things have happened, we've kind of really had our business is kind of built on a faith that, God kind of helped launch this business. Russell tells the story about how, Todd came into
Mhm.
his world and our world, and was an answer to prayer as well. And so we do feel like, that God has been directing us, from the beginning. And for me, absolutely, when I made contact with Russell through kind of a church function, we obviously started as good friends, but the introduction was because we were in the right place at the right time, so to speak.
Right, like when God puts you in those places. And I was talking to Russell about this on our podcast. I was like, when I walked in at FHL, the international, so in Vegas, I like walked in and I'd been like super stressed. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here, like all these things. And I just walked in and I just felt this peace. And I felt like God was like, this is where you belong. You are here now, just be calm. And I just felt like this peace. And I was like, okay. And like I talked to a whole bunch of people, I met a whole bunch of people, and I was like, it was because I prayed and I was like, God, I don't know what you're calling me to do, but for some reason all of these things keep lining up and we're in this room. And I was like, so you lead this how you want to lead it. And then I was able to have like Russell on my podcast and have you and like all these different things. And I was like, okay, God knows what he's doing when we let him take control. And I was reading last night in the Bible and it was talking about like when we wait for things. I feel like waiting is so hard because it's like, oh, I want this and I want this and I want this. And God's like, no, just wait. I have a bigger
Mhm.
plan because sometimes we don't see everything, but he does. And so I think that's just a cool part to pull out there is that he put your exact timing, like you guys we're put together in exact timing to like create
Yeah,
everything.
100%. And you talk about, our families. It's kind of interesting because one of the funny stories we had was, we kind of met each other, but we really didn't know each other that well. And
Mhm.
I remember the day my wife Amber and I went to, we didn't have kids at the time. We went to a restaurant, and we actually, we were waiting. We had to wait about, we probably waited about 40 minutes to get seated, and we were about to actually. We turned around and Russell and Clet actually walked in the door kind of behind us, and just out of coincidence, like they just showed up at the same time. And so anyway, the waiter, the host came and grabbed us and said,
Mhm.
our table is ready. So we went and sat down, and we sat down, and there was like a table for four. And we knew that Russell and Clet just walked in. We're like, should we just go, should we go invite them to come and sit down with us? And instead of having to wait another 30 or 40 minutes. And so we did. And so that kind of, again, it was just this weird thing. Like it was like this, again, some people call it coincidence. I don't think it was a coincidence that they walked in, and
Right.
and then we got to share a meal with them. just got to visit and get to know them in a different way, and that kind of started that relationship. And it was at that time where we actually we shared with them, we just had barely had found out we were expecting our first child. And so it was just kind of cool. Like they were like probably our only real friends that we really knew here in this area that knew about that. So they knew very first. It's been kind of fun. Our kids, most of our kids have lined up
I
age
know.
wise. Like
Yeah,
yeah, my oldest son and their older twin boys were born a week apart. So they found out they were expecting like right after we kind of said we were expecting. So it was kind of fun.
that's awesome. That's so fun. Okay, so I have a question. How did you meet your wife?
Yeah, so actually, again, talk about faith and family. I
Yeah,
actually, I so I was, in our faith, we go and volunteer our time and serve church missions,
yeah,
and so like my oldest son Carter he's in South Africa right now on a 2-year mission for our church, volunteer mission. When I you kind of send in an application, and then the church kind of tells you where you're going. Like you don't know where
yeah.
you're going,
So
and
cool.
I grew up in Canada, and I got called to the Idaho Boise mission. So I got called to Boise, Idaho. And anyways, but even fast forward that, I have a twin brother who he played baseball. And in the summer of 2000 or 1998, going way back, 1998, we just graduated from high school, and he actually ended up playing baseball in Twin Falls High School, or in Twin Falls, Idaho, where my wife grew up, and actually randomly ran into my wife and her friends, and they kind of built a friendship. Yeah, so that was like the summer.
That's crazy.
That fall, I got my mission called to Boise, Idaho that fall. And so anyway, and then when you're serving a mission, they usually move you around every 3 or 4 months.
Mhm.
You move to a different city or different area.
Yeah.
And after about 6 months when I was serving my mission in the Boise area, I got moved to Twin Falls, Idaho, and happened to run into her and her friend at a parade. And like just they thought I was my twin brother from this year before, and just like this random crazy thing. And so again, it's one of those like God things. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like did this like I had no control over this, but like I felt like God put me, called me to this area. Happened to run into her, and so that's how we initially met, and then we dated. We as a missionary, you don't date, and so
Mhm.
for a year and a half, I didn't really have any contact with her very much. But when I got home, I invited her to come to Canada, and she did, and we started a friendship and a long distance relationship, and we got married in 2002.
That's crazy. And then did you guys move to Idaho?
We did. Yes, we got married in Canada, lived there for about almost a year. And then I wanted to get back into school, to university. And so came to Boise State University.
Yeah.
And then that's where just after that is when we moved into an apartment and near where Russell and Colette happened to live. And that's where we met them and started our friendship and relationship.
That's so cool to like think about all those things that like fell in line. Like I love that your mission, you came to Boise and now you live there. Like you never would have thought at that point that this is where you'd be in your life. Like there's things that
Never.
you wouldn't have thought and you wouldn't have put those pieces together, but God's like, no, I have it all planned out. You just need to wait and give it time. And I think that's just so cool. Like, that's such a cool story, all those things.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was super,
Awesome.
super, super fun.
Right. Good to like go through all the things, all the fun things. Okay, hold on. Let me look at my next question. Um, Okay, so you kind of like talked about what you do for work, and so for the people that aren't within ClickFunnels and that'll listen to this, can you kind of like explain that a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, what
So, so again, when I started working with Russell, the way that what I first started doing was I was helping him with the relationships and as an affiliate manager. So what that means, kind of my day-to-day job was, Russell creates these offers, whether, physical products, we've had physical products or we've had digital products where he coaches and trains or has software. And, we're looking to find markets and people to buy our software. Well, when I first came in as the affiliate manager, relationship manager, Russell had several different relationships with good friends and people out there, and Russell would create an offer. And I'd go out to his Rolodex, and I'd go out and find other people who don't have offers or don't have a similar type offer, and say, "Hey, if you promote this and help, and we'll give you a commission on any sales that come in through your affiliate link." So that's what I did for the first several years. Even actually when we launched ClickFunnels, I was wearing that hat too and helping with that, finding partners who would help promote ClickFunnels and to their list. And so, Russell would do 2 or 3 or even more webinars a day where he would essentially talk about the software ClickFunnels and how it can benefit business owners and whatnot. And I would help behind the scenes, kind of lining up those calls and getting the links out to people. And so again, when Russell would jump on an audience, like for example, if I was talking to your audience, and I made an offer, hey, sign up for this offer. Traditionally what would happen is I would pay you a commission off of anybody who bought, from your relationships with people. And so that's what I did. So I've done that. Again, I've worn many different hats with operations of a business. So as human resources and making sure, as we grew ClickFunnels into a larger software company, I got to be on the front lines of helping to hire a lot of the team members, not necessarily on the development side, but on all the other sides, customer support, and all the people who help with our events and all the things we do. So I got to help with a lot of that. And now I've kind of really honed in on our coaching. So, Russell has had great success in business and in running and operating online businesses. And many people come and ask him every day, how do you do it? How do you do that? And so I get to help work with coaches and with Russell, taking Russell's knowledge and education and helping to kind of put that together and having our coaches help fulfill that. So people who are interested, they can sign up for coaching here in our company and use Russell's training and his content, and the coaches work with people to help launch their respective businesses.
That's so cool. You got to do like all the things.
I've worn many, many hats. I know, and I've done, and I'm not too great to take out the trash and all the things too. Like, and that's a really cool thing about the people that Russell attracts are really, I feel really special. Like I think again, if you've gotten to interact with some of our team members, like there's just something different about the team members. Our team members love to give back, love to serve others, love to serve him and help him, but the cool thing we get to do is we get to help others, other entrepreneurs and business owners realize their dreams as we're realizing ours, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think that my favorite part is that you guys are also like kind and you want to help other people. Like sometimes people are like really selfish and they're like, oh, well, what can you do for my business? But you guys are like, okay, we're going to help you because you know that you're helping other people, you're going to get something back like in that way. And you're like, so you know that, but you're not expecting it right away. I think that Todd is a very good example for that, is that he gave and gave and gave to Russell. And then now like they're able to receive all that. And that's so cool because when you help other people, you will get stuff back, but you will also know that you help someone else. I think that's so important.
100%. Yeah. Law of reciprocity. When you give and serve others, I mean, sometimes you may not see it, but it comes back. It comes back in different ways for sure.
Yeah. What is your favorite part of like watching ClickFunnels? Like how do you question this? Like what is your favorite part as you've watched ClickFunnels grow? Because you've been able to like be behind the scenes for all of that. Like what's your favorite part about that?
Yeah, I think, there was times where, I mean, it has been insane as far as that growth curve. As we kind of came into the marketplace, and really, really grew, it was fast and things were moving really, really fast. Over the years, definitely there's been more competitors coming on board, which again, it's been good as far as our businesses. We've got to really make our product even better, right? We've had to, our service and help grow that, increase that. I'd love to see business owners, grow and launch their businesses. I'd love to see stories of people, like Carson, your brother, who like came in and has learned, and it's just been like a sponge and jumping into different things. And I see him, he went through our funnel builder certification program and has had success there. And he's working on our sales team too, learning sales and learning how to talk to people and all the things he's learning through that process, which is tremendous. I get to jump on a call a little later today on our podcast today, and we're interviewing a gal who she is a chef, and she's launched, I think she's done, I don't know, $80,000 or $90,000 like in the last couple of weeks in her business, teaching people how to they can cook at home essentially. And again, it's exciting. Like we are helping individuals or small businesses grow and launch businesses, and it's changing their lives for the better.
It's so cool. Yeah, I think it's funny. You guys get to watch like the behind the scenes of everything like come together. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and it's from, again, the different businesses and industries that you wouldn't even imagine. Just super, super cool.
Right, because it's like all kinds of random different things and they like come together.
Hmm.
I love like going to the events and like, what do you guys do? And everybody's different, and it's like, whoa, this is so cool because they all like come together in a different way.
Yeah.
Fun. Okay, so I have a random question I'm just gonna throw in here. But so when you get on stage, because like at the you did it in Mexico, where you would
Hmm.
like get on stage and like pull up the people or whatever. And so how do you have so much energy up there, and like how do you stay like confident, like all of that, and not get like nervous up there? Because I'm like, I speak a lot and I'm like, oh, it's scary, but like how did you stay like excited and like all that?
Yeah, so it's kind of fun. Again, I'm not an MC. It's not my full-time job, but I do enjoy it when we do
Yeah.
have events, and when we need somebody. We definitely, for FHL we have a professional MC. I'm not a professional
Yeah.
MC, but I get energy off of being with other people, and especially some of our events like Unlock the Secrets of Paradise in Mexico, or our Mastermind Paradise, or our mastermind meetings we just had recently. I look in the audience, and these are my friends, and so it doesn't feel weird. I feel like I get energy from them, as the audience is so welcoming and friendly. It just gives me energy and gets me excited, as I get up there and help kind of just explain, what's going to happen over the day or the next few days, and help introduce our speakers who are coming up, because I know they're going to just provide so much great value to our attendees. I know that just by being in that room, that amazing things are going to happen for our folks. And so I love being a part of that.
That's fun. Yeah, it's so cool like to watch each person have their own role and then watch it like help everybody else. It's cool. Okay. This is kind of like a random question. I don't know if you like totally had a moment, but how did you know this was what God called you to do?
I think it was back when we first started. And, again, there's ups and downs of business, and we had our own ups and downs, and Russell's been really open about those things. And when we've had some down moments, looking back and knowing that, like, again, the coincidence of running into Russell Kled at that restaurant, and the coincidence of us starting a friendship, and Russell's invitation for me to come and help start working with him. After I graduated with my undergrad degree in communications, from Boise State University, I had applied for and was accepted into a master's program. I was pursuing a career as a marriage and family therapist. That's what I was going to do, and so I started that program. So I actually started working with Russell during the day, and then at nighttime I'd go to a night program, and I would be learning how to perform therapy, and learning all the things that come with that. And we would practice therapy on each other as students in this program, and and so I do that at nighttime, and we did that. And as I kind of got going in that program, I completed my first year in that program. And I realized, as my work with Russell, I saw Russell just having tremendous success. He'd go and he'd speak on a stage for 90 minutes, and he'd make, $100,000 or something in sales. I just like was blown away. I'm like, you made more money in 90 minutes than my mom or my dad or my parents combined, at home, growing up. And so I'm like, man, this is like, he's just something special about this guy. And, and I was going to school, and I thought, you know what, like I could help. I can spend my time doing one-on-one counseling, which is awesome, which is great work, which is absolutely needed. Or I can take that same time, and I can help, with this tool, the internet, help impact more lives and help more and more people than just that one time.
Mhm.
And so I put that schooling on hold, and jumped in even more with Russell, and saw the opportunities that were here, and felt like, again, God was kind of putting us in a position to really help a lot more people in a greater
Mhm.
way.
Yeah, I feel like when you find a way to help other people, like for God, and you find it like, okay, how many people can I help? And like all these things, you're like, okay, I can help more people if I do this way. And like recently I've been trying to figure out like, what do I actually want to do? And I had a podcast with Hanalei Swan, and we were talking about like, okay, what do we actually want to do? Like, what do I want to do? Like right now, not when I'm older, but like right now. And so I was like, well, I definitely want to speak. And I have a call later today with someone who is a speaker, and they're like going to talk to me and help me with that. And I'm like, it's kind of cool because when you like follow the thing that God has put you to do, like he was like, Rose, I want you to be a speaker. I want you to do podcasts. I want you to write a book. And I just knew that this was what God wanted me to do. I was like, okay, so I'm going to pursue those things. And because that's what I feel like I'm called to do. And I think we all have different visions, and that's kind of a cool thing because, and our visions change definitely because I was really big into swimming, and I was able to share God to all of my swim friends. And then God was like, okay, now it's time to do something else. I think that's just kind of fun because there's little things that I learned a lot from swimming that I'm going to take into my speaking and that kind of stuff, and the stories and that stuff. And so it's like everything that God does, it all lines up. And that's just kind of a fun thing that he does so well is he lines everything up.
For sure.
And then I had another question about kind of like in that area. So like was there a moment, or like when was there a time that you knew you wouldn't have made it like out of that without God?
Um, I think it's, again, when we've had those down moments of in business, and
Mhm.
we had to rely on God. We had to rely on each other, and having faith that we can have success, that what
Mhm.
we were doing was worthy and was noble, and that definitely helped us to be able to kind of come together. When again, business or life is hard, it's easy to kind of separate and point fingers and blame, and as a business, and even for my wife and I, we realized, like, we had faith in what we were doing. We had faith in Russell and Colette. We had faith in our team, and what we could do together. And so, again, when things were tough, we came together, and we prayed, and we had faith that we could be able to learn from those things, and continue to grow and develop, and we sacrificed some things too at that time. We learned to live off of less income, and do some things that way. And I think that helped humble us, and keep us humble, and recognizing that all things are possible through God, but we also need God in our
Mhm.
lives, and we need to pull together, as a team. And that definitely helped me realize that, again, well, a reminder that we needed God in our lives, and we need to continue to work hard.
Yeah, 'cause things get hard and things go downhill, and you're like, okay, I have to rely on God because one, He has greater plan. Two, He's stronger than anything, and like greater than anything on this earth. So no matter like what happens here, He's still greater. And something you said about like humble is I posted an Instagram reel the other day, and it was like always be humble because what God gives, He can also take. And it was
Mm,
kind of like so those things that we think, oh well, I'm going so maybe you have like a whole bunch of money and all this stuff, like that will easily be able to become an idol, and when things become idols, God will take them. And I think that's scary. And so finding like balance between all of that stuff. And I love that like you guys, especially with ClickFunnels, you guys aren't all about the money. Like that's never like, oh well, we make this much money, make this much money. Like you guys help other people to make money so that they can find happiness and find peace, but it's not about the money. And I was talking to my friend the other day about like all this stuff, and I was like, and I can make like a good income, like I could have enough money to support myself and all this stuff. And she was like, are these people like have a lot of money? And I was like, I mean, yeah, they have money. And she was like, but are they happy? She, because a lot of people that don't like that have money aren't happy. And she's like, and I would rather you be happy than have a lot of money. And I
mm,
was like, they are very happy, and they like don't focus on the money because your bank account is going to go up and down. That's life and that's part of it. But who you are and who you are with God doesn't change, like as long as you stay strong with that. And so I think that I'm very like trying to be like you guys in that aspect where you guys don't focus on the money. Like the money part, that's just an added bonus because
mhm.
you have all these other things like the relationships and all that stuff, which I think is so cool. Because once you grow like in connections and stuff, it's like life is so much better because I've met so many people through these events that like I didn't know I needed them, but now I can't imagine living without them. And so it's just kind of like a cool thing that we have there.
For sure.
So yeah, that's awesome. Okay, let me look at my next question. Um, okay, so this one's kind of like with the main like topic part, but how do you find time to grow your relationship with God while working and having a family?
Yeah, no, that's great. Like I think I said earlier, like, it's never a perfect balance,
Mhm.
but it's been time where we've dedicated time. So, I definitely, there's enough work that I could work about 24 hours a day if I really wanted to or needed to. But it's knowing that, again, we need to try to find a balance there. The reason why we do work is to love and support our family and help take care of them, right? And if we're so focused on work, we kind of forget about our families, then that defeats the whole purpose. So it's again looking for balance. So, and Russell's great. Like, it's, when there's a family event happening, I got kids involved in sports or other activities, it's like, you should be there. Like, that should, that you've got only limited amount of time with these kids, and they'll be gone. And there's gonna be work opportunities all the time, and you can always find more work to do. So we have dedicated time. We definitely try to do dinner together. We read together as a family. Most recently, we started reading Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, and it's a fantastic book. And I didn't know how my kids, how they would react to it, and like they just like sit there and they're like sponges. They just like love to hear about this. And as we're talking about, again, what's cool about that book is obviously, here's Jocko and Leaf, who, they were in the military, and they're Navy SEALs and whatnot, and we're leading teams in the military, but they take that learning and that knowledge and they apply it to business and life. And so I think one thing that we really foster big here in our company and focus is extreme ownership of if there's something to do, like, don't rely on someone else to do it. Like, you do it, or you be the quarterback. You make sure it happens, even if it's not you necessarily doing it. Like, making sure that it's happening so that we can
Mhm.
help improve things as a company and as a family. Like, I'm like trying to help my kids to realize, like, to understand that you can't rely. You gotta be responsible for things, and whether it's homework, or whether it's, again, getting in shape and getting ready for the upcoming sports season, or how you treat your friends and being kind, and all the things in life. But you're gonna have to be responsible. When people make bad decisions, and maybe we all make bad decisions, but, like, fess
Mhm.
up to it, and then, like, move forward. And so that's kind of thing. So, again, eat dinner together, family time there, supporting each other at different activities. Those have been some ways kind of have grounded me, making sure that I'm present for my family.
Yeah,
And then,
that's awesome.
with Sundays, we typically go to church on Sundays, the family as well, and spend some time that way as well.
Okay, yeah, so can you explain, like, your church to me? Because I was talking to Bowen, he and I were kind of talking about it, but, like, I know you probably have, like, a wider view on this part. So, like, can you, like, explain that to me? Kind of
Yeah,
what
so I mean, I think, I don't think it's very different from a lot of other folks, but we go to 2 hours of church on Sunday typically. Um, and our first hour is kind of just a general meeting with everybody, the whole congregation. And then usually second hour we kind of break up into Sunday school, or
Mhm.
different classes in that regards. And so again, I've been doing that my whole life, and our son Carter is in Cape Town, South Africa,
That's
and
so
for 2 years
cool.
he's going out and sharing Jesus Christ with people. And he's had a lot of success where a lot of people are interested, and they make a choice to be baptized and to follow Christ. And Bowen's going to be doing that. And
Yeah,
he's
that's
going
so
to San Diego
exciting.
here in a few months, and super excited for him and that opportunity he has.
Yeah, so can, like, you went on a mission, didn't you?
Yeah,
To
I came to
yeah.
Boise, Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah, so can you, like, explain kind of, like, like, how did you guys contact people? Like, because I know Bowen was talking to me about it, and, like, yeah, they can't really talk to people a lot, like, or, like, their family and that kind of thing. So can you, like, explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So we'd go out, and this is back in the day, but we would knock on doors. Like, so we learned public speaking. We learned how to
Yeah.
get a lot of rejection, because you knock on doors, and some people are interested in what you have to say, and some people aren't. We had a lot of referrals to other people in the church who have friends who are interested in learning more from the missionaries. They would ask us to come over and teach them, and so we got to do that a lot. And just build relationships with people, even people who necessarily weren't necessarily interested in joining our faith. um, they wanted to have a conversation about God, and we'd read scriptures together, and we'd pray with them. And I guess got to know a lot of great people, whether they're in or outside of our faith, in that respect. And but again, learning how to, again, when people are interested, and okay, great, and you move on.
Mhm.
And when people are, then you get to, again, have further discussions with them. You teach lessons, and helping them understand kind of what our church is about, and
Mhm.
then they can make a decision if they want to be baptized and join the church, and helping them come to church and get to know more people. Our church is organized in geographical areas. So
Yeah.
there's a larger area, and that's an area called a stake. And
Okay.
then within a stake boundary, which is again a boundary, there are wards, and a ward is made up of a smaller group of people. And so when you get called to be a missionary, you cover, again, a geographical area. So when I was in Boise, I'd cover this stake, and I'd cover maybe these specific wards in that stake. And so as missionaries, when you cover an area, and you stay in that area. You don't get to really leave that area the whole time you're in it. And then they move you to a new area, and you get to know people in those new areas. And you have missionary companions, so you're always with somebody. So I
That's
had a companion or a buddy with me for the full 2 years,
so
and get to know a lot of really great people from all over the world. We had missionaries who were here from Mongolia and from Brazil and from other places in the U.S. and Canada, and got
so
to know a lot of those people over the two years that I was here.
that's awesome. So could you, like, talk to your family still and, like, your friends, or how did that work?
So back then, we got to write letters once a week. So we got to actually write physical letters. This is like email was just coming out. So this is
Yeah.
the old school. And then twice a year we got to call home twice a year. They've changed it now, where missionaries can email, weekly. They can email weekly, and then you can actually talk to missionaries once a week if they have an area where they have phones and whatnot. So we get to talk to our son Carter every Sunday night, like kind of about 10:30, 9:30, 10:30 our time, which is like 7:30 in the morning on Monday for him. And so we get to chat with him once a week, and yeah, it's been really cool.
Yeah, so can he still talk to his friends from back home, or is he just
Nope.
his
So
family?
he gets to talk to he gets to, yeah, he can email, and he usually we got an email list, so he'll usually, not every week, but once in a while, every couple of weeks, he'll send an email out. And he's got a Google photo account. He'll upload pictures to that, and he'll have a link that goes out, so you can see pictures of him, and with the people, and it's really cool to see the beautiful countryside and see him. He seems, looks happy, and then we get to talk to him once a week. But yeah, he doesn't get to talk to friends or girlfriends or anything like that. It just makes one phone call to family,
That's
and
cool.
then that's it.
I like that, like, because then you get to separate yourself, and you also then get to come home and find the people who truly were your friends. And
Hmm.
like the people who are truly your friends will stay your friends, but then you will be able to like let go of the people who might not like truly be your friends, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no,
But,
that's interesting. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So can you explain? I was talking to Mandy Leslie. So like the wards. So like how big is that? Like how like you know what I mean?
Usually there's no more than 300 people usually in a
Okay.
ward area. So again, it's, sometimes it's neighborhoods, or it's a few different neighborhoods make that ward area, and it's a few hundred people. And so that's, you go to church every Sunday. Again, you have a certain time you meet, and it's with your specific ward, which again,
Okay.
your neighbors and people who live close to you. And what's really cool about it, it kind of creates that community aspect. Where
Yeah.
if someone's sick, like, people know about it, and again, and whether they're members of our church or not, like,
Mhm.
you get to know your neighbors and friends, and people
Mhm.
will drop meals off, or like, help serve, or help take their kids to school for them if they need help. And
Mhm.
so again, what's kind of cool about it is, you can move anywhere. I can move to Chicago, I can move to Missouri, I can move to New York City. And when I move there, I can get in touch with the local leader of that ward, and immediately I can be in touch with a community of people that, again, are faith-based, very with my faith, and who, we have a lot of things in common, obviously, because of that. And it makes it really nice. We've had people, I got to, at one point here a few years ago, got to kind of help lead a ward, and it was really cool to be able to help serve other people. And sometimes people are traveling through and their car breaks down, and they can, again, reach out to a local congregation and get help and support, as they're making their way on a drive. For example, they run out of gas, or something, something crazy happens, or they can't afford a
Yeah.
hotel and they need help. We can help give to them and help serve them, so which is really cool, help bless them.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of my very close friends, so we've like grown up together. I think I've known her like 7 years. And when we were younger, it's like she goes to, what do you guys call your church? What's the name of your church?
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
Okay,
or
yeah.
more
So,
LDS Church, or Mormon Church.
yeah, so she goes to like that same church. And it was cool because I got to go with her one time, and it was like these people, like they like, were so close. I think that's cool about churches is like everybody helps each other.
Yeah,
And I feel like finding the right church because people will help you and they like love you. And so I think that's just so cool that you guys have that, especially with like the like wards, because then you guys get to know each other and like be like family. So are you guys in the same ward as the Brunsons or?
I'm not. I'm actually just right. I'm neighboring. There, our little it's cut off right next to them.
Yeah.
But we actually go to the same building, our church building, same building, which is kind of fun. So I get to see them sometimes on Sundays. But yeah, it's different. The only time was just when we first met each other. We actually went to the same ward together,
Okay.
and that's how we got to know them kind of well. And then,
That's
and
awesome. Yeah.
then, yeah.
God was like, "Oh, you guys are gonna be close to each other." That's
Hmm.
awesome. That's so cool. I know we're like running out of time. Do you have any other like questions for me or anything like that?
No, I don't think so. I think just it's fantastic that, again, you're doing what you're doing. You're again, you're finding and working on your voice, and I think it's super important. Um, it only comes through duplication and replication. It's getting on podcasts. It's putting yourself out there. I'm sure it's really scary, and it's intimidating to ask people, and it's intimidating to jump on calls with people, especially some of the guests you've had, which are amazing guests. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's um, but again, doing that and repeating that is what's going to help you, continue to grow and develop. And for
Mhm.
all of us, like it's that duplication and working and continue to not give up on those goals that we have and those dreams. And I think that's what's super important. Again, in business or life, right? It's
Mhm.
it's having a goal or focus or a place you're going to,
Yeah.
and working through the process to get there.
Yeah, it's kinda cool because you see, like, all line up and, like, work together. Because I was like, "I don't know what my podcast is even doing," and now we're almost to 500 downloads, and I'm like, "Okay, that might not be a lot, but that's, like, a lot to me." And it's just
Hmm.
kind of cool to see once you start working towards something, and, yeah, you work hard and you, like, keep working and working, that you'll see some things happen, and so I'm really excited to see, like, where it all goes. It's kinda scary, but it's a good scary because when it scares you, it means you should do it and, like, work hard on your goals.
100%. Yep.
Alright, well, that's all I have for today, but I wanna say thank you so much for being on here and for just talking. We had, like, a lot of different random little topics, but it's good.
Mhm. Yeah, you bet. No, thanks for the invitation. Appreciate you, and just want to encourage you to keep doing it. Keep
Thank you.
working and get after it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a good day.